In today's video, I'll be doing a 2017 NBA redraft. If you guys watch my channel and have followed me over the past year or so, you know that pretty much I like doing redrafts. It fascinates me to look back at past drafts and see just how different the redraft is than the actual draft. And last offseason, I did all of the redrafts from the draft classes of 2010 up until 2015. About a week ago, I did the 2016 redraft, bringing back this series, and now today, I'm going to be doing the 2017 redraft. If any of you are new to the channel, basically the way I do redrafts is I imagine that the draft is actually happening today, but hypothetically that the players in this draft are rookies, so knowing what they've done so far in their actual careers and currently how they're doing and how their future's looking, I rank them accordingly and also factor in a little bit of how they would fit into that team in today's NBA. You'll see how it goes if you're a little bit confused more as we go on, so let's get started. Overall pick, I've got the Philadelphia 76ers selecting Jason Tatum. And in today's NBA, Jason Tatum is becoming closer and closer to becoming a top 10 player in the NBA, really proving he's one of the better ISO scorers in the game right now. Last season, averaging almost 26.5 points per game on slightly above average efficiency, which is very good for Jason Tatum and his playstyle. As I mentioned, playing a lot in ISO, creating his own shot, taking step backs, creating his own shots in the post, taking fadeaway jumpers, and like I said, really turning into one of the better scorers in the game right now. I think it should pretty much be a no-brainer that he's going first here to the Sixers, pairing him up now with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, which would be a very interesting trio. And also, Jason Tatum throughout his career has been a pretty good defender. He can be versatile defensively, guard pretty much anywhere 1 through 4, a very good rebounder for his position, and also does a great job shooting the 3 for his career, almost shooting 40% from 3 on around 5 attempts per game. Last year, shooting about 39% from 3 on 7 attempts per game, and this efficiency from 3 from Tatum is absolutely insane, considering, like I mentioned, some of the sidestep, step back threes that he's taking and creating for himself. So his overall game, combined with definitely his elite scoring ability right now, definitely earns him the #1 spot in this redraft. With the second pick, I've got the Los Angeles Lakers selecting Donovan Mitchell, and if this did happen in real life, this would pretty much mean a guaranteed championship for the Lakers. And in the real draft, Donovan Mitchell was selected 13th overall, meaning he's definitely one of the better steals of this draft. For his career, showing his elite scoring ability, putting up about 23.5 points per game, and in this recent season, putting up about 26.5 points per game. His ability to create his own shot is becoming better and better as the seasons go on. He is definitely doing a better job developing as a 3-level scorer, scoring in all 3 levels of the game. His scoring ability stats-wise could be a little bit inflated just because he's always played on one of the best screening teams in the league in the Utah Jazz, especially having a great screener like Rudy Gobert playing alongside him. But also Mitchell has especially recently developed into a very good playmaker as well. Last year ranking 12th in the league in box creation with 11.7 per game, which is how many open shots you create for your teammates per game. I would also classify him as probably an above average defender. I think he's a pretty good perimeter defender, and also he elevates his game a ton when it comes to the playoffs. So far for his young career, averaging 29 points per game in the playoffs. And I forgot to mention that for Jason Tatum too, he also elevates his game in the playoffs a ton so far in his young career. So I think Mitchell definitely deserves to go second in this redraft. With the 3rd overall pick, the Celtics will be selecting Bam Adebayo. Another steal here where he went 14th overall in the actual draft. In this hypothetical draft, the Celtics wouldn't have Jason Tatum, but they still definitely do need a big man, and Bam would fill that role great for them. Offensively for Bam's career, he's never been anything special. He's been really efficient for his career, having a 56% field goal percentage, and is a very good lob threat and can play in the post pretty effectively. Also be a pretty good playmaker when it comes to things like screening. Last year ranking in the top 7 in the league in screen assists, being a very good passer at times when the offense runs through him. But obviously Bam is mostly known for his defense, and that's why he's going in the top 3 of this redraft. He's definitely at least a top 5 defender in the NBA currently, in my opinion, a top 3 defender, an amazing rim protector, and the most versatile defender in the entire league. He can switch 1 through 5, guard some of the most elite guards in the NBA very effectively, and overall last season had a defensive field goal percentage of 44.3%, which is 3.7% below average for big man position. And this is amazing for Bam considering the assignments that he's given night in and night out. Like I mentioned, sometimes having to switch on the perimeter and guard some of the league's best scoring guards out there. So Bam's amazing defense alone deserves him at least a top 3 spot in this redraft. With the 4th pick, the Suns are going to be selecting De'Aaron Fox. In the real draft, he went 5th overall, so pretty much living up to expectations and going in almost the exact same spot. He wouldn't fit very well on the Suns here just because they already have Chris Paul, but they would definitely find a way, and he's easily the best player to take here, so I think he has to go in the spot in the redraft. And especially recently, because he's on the Sacramento Kings, De'Aaron Fox has been really overlooked and underrated. Last year, pretty much averaging 25 points per game and 7 assists, and almost no one talks about it. He has a very strong case to be a top 25 player in the league right now, doing this on slightly above average efficiency, creating his own shot a lot, being very crafty around the rim, one of the better playmakers in the league too, like I said, averaging 7 assists per game, and creating tons of shots for his Sacramento teammates, ranking 13th in the league this year in box creation with just like Donovan Mitchell and 11.7 per game. And he's also a good perimeter defender too, so as a point guard, De'Aaron Fox can pretty much do anything you want from a very good point guard. With the 5th pick, the Sacramento Kings will be selecting John Collins. He went 19th overall in the actual draft, another big steal here. The Kings will be looking to select the best player overall here, and that's definitely Collins. He's turning into one of the better lob threats in the NBA right now. For his career, he's put up almost 17 points per game on 64% true shooting, which is well above average. You can tell that he's one of the better lob threats in the game when you watch him play, and also has got his post game better and better as his career has gone on. And he's also turned into an above average on-ball defender as well. We saw specifically last year in the playoffs, just as an example, how he did a pretty good job guarding Julius Randle one-on-one. And also, he's also developed a three-point shot, last year shooting 40% from 3. So overall, Collins is definitely the best player to select here and would provide a lot of good things for the Sacramento Kings. With the 6th overall pick, the Magic will be selecting OG Anunoby, who went 23rd overall in the actual draft, another big steal here. In my opinion, he's the best overall player to select here, but he would also fit really well in the Magic because they really need defense right now. OG currently in the NBA is definitely a top 10 defender, probably the most versatile defender in the NBA right now. He can do a very good job effectively guarding on the perimeter, on ball, and down low. He's a lot stronger than he looks. He does a great job on the interior defending, can guard anyone 1 through 5 very, very effectively, and is a good off-ball defender. And offensively too, he can play off-ball offensively. He's a good three-point shooter for his career, shooting 37.5% from 3 on 3.5 attempts per game, and last year shooting 40% from 3 on 6 attempts per game. And he can also score down low, he can cut to the basket, gets easy baskets that way, and last year put up 16 points per game. So offensively, he's definitely over average. Defensively, he's one of the best in the NBA, so he's got to go here to the Magic in my opinion. With the 7th pick, the Timberwolves are selecting Lonzo, who went 2nd overall, and if you were to tell me 2 or 3 years ago that Lonzo would be going 7th in this redraft, I wouldn't believe you because he was definitely looking like a bust, and a pretty big bust for sure in the first few years of his career, not having a consistent jump shot at all, really not scoring the ball at all like he did in college. But especially in the recent years, he's proved a lot of his doubters wrong, especially the last few years, shooting about 37.5% from 3 on this year 8.5 attempts per game, which is absolutely insane for Lonzo, who looked like he had a completely broke jump shot. I mean, he completely fixed the form of his jump shot and everything, and still being one of the better passers in the league for his career, still averaging 6.5 assists, always having great court vision, very good in transition when it comes to passing, and also is one of the better defending guards in the entire NBA. He's a very, very good perimeter defender and pretty good versatile as well, has good hands, good instincts, and is a good off-ball defender as well. Overall, Lonzo has definitely proved that he's not a bust, and he still deserves to be in the top 7 of this redraft and going to the Timberwolves being their main point guard on the team. With the 8th pick, the Knicks are going to be selecting Dillon Brooks. He went 45th overall in the actual draft, so arguably the biggest steal of the draft here, Dillon Brooks, and he would fit well with the Knicks too, fitting into their defensive system. He proved especially this year that he's a very good on-ball defender, especially in the NBA playoffs. And offensively too, he's a pretty good role player, averaged 14 points per game for his career. He can be the main guy when you need him to. He can also play off ball and shoot the 3 pretty effectively, shooting 35.3% from 3 for his career on 4.5 attempts per game, and also be a pretty good rebounder and get buckets down low. He's not very efficient overall, but mostly because of his defense and sometimes his very good shooting, I'm putting him here going to the Knicks 8th. With the 9th pick, the Mavericks are selecting Jarrett Allen, who went 22nd overall in the actual draft, and he would be just a really good fit with this team because they still still need that defensive big man and big defensive anchor. He's turning into one of the better shot blockers and overall rim protectors in the NBA. He can guard the pick and roll pretty effectively, and offensively he plays his role, is a very good lob threat last year, putting up 13 points per game on 62% shooting, which he's done pretty consistently throughout his career. He also cleans up the glass very well and gets a lot of buckets down there. Off of offensive rebounds, last year ranking 8th in the NBA in offensive rebounds per game with around 3.1, and overall about 10 rebounds per game. So he plays his role when it comes to rebounding and plays his role offensively, and is pretty elite defensively, and because of that and how he would fit so well on the Mavericks because of his elite defense, I've got him going here in the redraft. With the 10th pick, the Blazers are selecting Boucher, who was undrafted in this draft, so a huge steal here. The Blazers could definitely use a stretch big. Boucher, mostly he's going this high because of improvement last year putting up about 14 points per game on 63.5% true shooting, and also about 38.5% from 3, which is very impressive for a big man. Like I mentioned, very good in the pick and pop, could provide a lot of value for the Blazers, and had an effective field goal percentage of almost 60%, which is well above average. It shows how good of a three-point shooter he really is, and defensively, you can make a very good argument that he's a top 30 defender in the NBA right now, a great pick and roll defender, and an amazing shot blocker around the rim. With the 11th pick, the Hornets will be selecting Donovan, who went 6th overall in the actual draft, and could be going that high if he stayed healthy throughout his career. He's had a lot of injury struggles and missed all of last season, but he's going still this high and making the lottery because of his great defense. He is one of the most versatile defenders in the NBA, similar to OG Anunoby that way, and if he could stay healthy, could be one of the best defenders in the league one day. He would also be going higher too if he had more consistent three-point shooting. First career shooting 33% from 3. At times he showed a glimpse of being a good shooter, but hasn't been consistent yet, so right now he's going 11th. With the 12th pick, the Pistons will be selecting Josh Hart, who went 30th overall in the actual draft. Another big steal here. I think he's extremely underrated as he provides a lot of value rebounding the basketball. First career averaging about 8 rebounds per 75 possessions, which is very, very good for a guard. Absolutely one of the better rebounding guards in the NBA. Extremely good defensively. He's a very good perimeter defender. Can defend very, very well in the post for his size, and is one of the better defenders in the NBA in my opinion. Extremely underrated on that end of the floor. He's nothing special offensively, doesn't score a lot, and is doing this on below average efficiency, but still sometimes can shoot the 3 pretty well and cut to the basket and get easy baskets at the rim as well. So he's a good off-ball player offensively, a great rebounder, and a great defender, and because of that, he's definitely making the lottery for me. With the 13th pick, the Nuggets will be selecting Lauri Markkanen. He went 7th in the actual draft, so he's definitely disappointed a little bit throughout his career, but still averaging about 16 points per game over the course of his career. Last year showing that he can shoot the 3 pretty consistently, shooting 40% from 3 on 6 attempts per game, but he's not really great defensively and doesn't have a huge playmaking aspect to his game, so he's disappointed a little bit throughout his career, but has still shown that he can be a decent second option at times. And lastly, with the 14th pick, we've got the Heat selecting Markelle Fultz, who in the real draft went 1st overall. And if I needed to use one word to describe Fultz's career, it would be interesting, to say the least. I mean, he's had tons of struggles with injuries, but when he has played recently, he showed a little bit of promise of still being a decent NBA player, a decent playmaker, can finish crafty around the rim, and pretty much average defensively. So I still have him making the draft just because of this promise, but he has had health issues throughout his career for sure, and obviously has not lived up to being the 1st overall pick, but I definitely do hope that next year he can have a fully healthy season and show that he's still a very good young player in this league. So there you have it. That's the end of today's video. As you can see, the redraft is definitely a lot different than the NBA, than the actual draft in 2017. So this is why redrafts fascinate me, and this one was definitely fun to do. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to comment your thoughts down below. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'll still be posting tons of NBA content, along with in about probably a week that 2018 redraft as well. So stay tuned for that one. That'll be a fun video for sure, and I'll see you all next video.